Hey everyone, uh, I've been seeing a lot of things recently and kind of made me want to talk about, uh, some things that are related to the things I've been seeing on social media and stuff. The main thing is the entire, Stop Killing Games, initiative movement. I've been seeing, the, meetings with, like, the commission and everything like that, and I've had forgotten that that was still going on, and I've been keeping up with it. Uh, looking into like what was being said during the meetings and things like that, and you know it, and with Sony's decision in recent times with wanting to remove all physical disc support and going fully digital, that poses a threat to actually owning, games as a consumer. Because, like, even though, like, with PC, you still don't technically own the games. I don't think Steam is ever really going to take them away. But even when Steam does, there are ways to get the games. Like, I think uh, there's a website, GOG, which has some older games from like PS2 era, stuff like that like I grew up with. Because I grew up with like PS2, the Nintendo Wii, you know, stuff like that. A little bit of the original Xbox, GameCube, Xbox 360, like all those games, you were still able to get on PC relatively easy. And even like Nintendo games, there are ways to play them without having the like official console, which I mean, people do. People stream playing Nintendo games on their computer, which some get in trouble for, some don't. That isn't really the topic I was wanting to talk about, but this is once again another kind of rant sort of thing. But with the Stop Killing Games initiative or movement, whatever you want to call it, they have brought quite a few good several points. Whenever you bought a game for the Wii, PS2, or even PlayStation 1, the NES, all of those games, even Game Boy, DS, you know, Xbox, GameCube, all those consoles, when you bought the games for them, you owned the game. You didn't own a license to the game. You owned the game that you could sell or lend to someone. It was yours. But ever since, like things have becoming more digital, we don't really own the games anymore. Sony, not just Sony, they can just kind of yank the games away anytime they want, pretty much. And, that's a big problem. Because once Sony stops doing physical discs, uh, they'll have pretty much a monopoly, at least I think so, on digital games. Because then, you don't really own the game even more so now. Because at least with physical discs, you can kind of find ways to, use them, I think. I'm not too knowledgeable on that. People in the comments can correct me. But the reason I'm talking about this is because apparently a bunch of people are protesting in spite of Sony's decision. They're not really using their PlayStation consoles or their like PlayStation Plus, the PlayStation Network, things like that, in protest of Sony's decision to eventually go to fully digital by or in 2028. And I personally I completely support the protest. Like, I haven't been playing my PlayStation or anything because of it personally, but like it's a very serious thing because like Xbox and PlayStation, I think the other day like servers and stuff shut down and no one could play it. I could be thinking of a while back. Once again, this is just stuff I've been seeing. I don't know how true it is, so you can fact check me. Bring up the proper information in the comments if you wish. But I'm saying all this because like growing up, it was a very different time when you bought like the older Prince of Persia games, or if you remember the Family Guy or Futurama game for I think PS2. It may have been also for Xbox or Xbox 360, but like those games were very like for me fun growing up. The Mortal Kombat games, Dragon Ball, Budokai, those games when you got them, you owned completely. And now with the switch to digital, they're going to they can make it more expensive, and as a consumer you don't really have much elsewhere to go. And some of the people during the meeting brought up good points, like if buying a game nowadays isn't owning the game, then piracy isn't stealing the game. But it's a lot, especially because like PlayStation talked about how most of their purchases now are digital, which I'm sure they are for the most part, because one, after like COVID and everything hit, no one could really go outside, and it became, that's kind of how you had to buy them. And then after COVID, it was just more convenient. And which also with PlayStation and the PlayStation Store, there's games that you can only buy digitally through the PlayStation Store, which shouldn't count, So their numbers are very skewed in that sense. But I'm sure like their numbers do lean more towards digital purchases and stuff, but a lot of people like having the physical copy. For like me, there's something nostalgic about it, like, which I'm going to go on a separate tangent real quick. Gaming to me has devolved, before you didn't have to download the game. You could just put the disc in and it booted up the game. All you needed was space for the saves, which was like 8 megabytes. Um, there it is. So, this is, if I'm sure you can tell what it is, a PlayStation 2 memory card, and it has 8 megabytes. I think it's megabytes. Could be wrong, but that was used for games and probably some other stuff, but I mainly knew it for games. And the thing is, also just like the consoles now, you could use it for movies. And that was, mind-blowing to me at the time. And you could do the same for like Wii, Xbox, stuff like that, but the main worry you had is, do I have enough space to download or save my game? You didn't have to worry about, okay, put the disc in. Now I have to wait 30 minutes to an hour or so for the game to download. And even then, sometimes you can't fully play the game. You have to wait longer in order to play the full game. You can only play like the first part until it's fully downloaded, which is even more dumb to me. But I digress. This is just a very important topic for me, because gaming has been my safe place for so long. Gaming is where I go to have fun and lose myself in the worlds of fantasy or, apocalypse and, what have you, and forget about the troubles of the world and, the anxiety and stuff I feel or deal with. Forget about the stupid people in the world and the terrible things going on. And with this, it kind of feels like a attack almost. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's just, after seeing a lot of like the Stop Killing Games shorts and stuff on my feed, and reading a bit about what Sony has done, which some of the skits people have been making about Sony is hilarious. But like, and the thing is, like, I don't want to keep talking about negative things. I don't. I would love to tomorrow, like, talk about, a uplifting thing that happened, but it's so hard to find uplifting things, good things that are happening. Because, like, I remember a few years ago, someone, I think a teenager or so, actually beat Tetris, if you remember. He actually, like, fully beat the game to the point it wouldn't load any more blocks to drop. And, like, that was insane. That was mind-blowing and incredible. But, like, nothing great or incredible, at least from what I've seen, has happened like that. I would love to get on here tomorrow and, like, man, this person just, like, beat their own personal mile time, And I'm sure I can try and search and find it, but it's just super difficult. I know I've kind of been rambling for some time. It's just, when I record videos, I hate, like, editing, because I don't want it to seem unreal. And besides, then you can kind of see the thought process, the tangents, just pauses and the way my mind works. 'Cause like I feel like whenever you edit stuff, like at times if like the silence is too long, then yeah, sure, you know, I can or should make the cut. It's just I feel like the silences, and everything, kind of make it more human, more real. There can be a connection between me and you as the audience and creator of the content. You know, even though I don't think what I do is content, it's just rambling, reacting, gaming, you know. But like outside of gaming, like scalpers, like Pokemon scalpers and stuff, like I'm not as much into like Pokemon stuff, but like the One Piece card game, Magic, like I would love to like do videos of playing like Magic or One Piece or even just opening packs in front of people, because it's something I enjoy and something I would love to do. Like, hold on, because I've built a One Piece deck, and it's probably like messed up in some cases and stuff, but like I've bought like the Japanese iteration of the cards and stuff, like the card game is fun. Like it is genuinely something I enjoy, and like scalpers and stuff like that, are driving up the prices and making it so difficult to do anything. And like where I live, like I can barely find the One Piece cards. Like I've had to order the ones I have offline in order to get them, and even then I'm probably getting scammed somewhat. But I mean, I'm just happy to be able to get the cards I need to make decks. Like, which this one I got for Christmas. But like I got the Doctor Who uh deck with the 12th Doctor and 13th Doctor, stuff like that, and like it's something I enjoy. But like with scalpers and stuff, it's just so difficult to have a hobby in anything anymore. But yeah, sorry for rambling so long. If y'all want to hear me just complain or play more games, do whatever, like, subscribe, all that sort of thing, comment if you want, let me know your opinions on the entire thing, or some games you want me to play, some music you want me to react to, everything like that. And I'll see everyone in